We are the atmosphere. We are the voice. We are the energy. We are the noise. We are the kingdom. We are the vibe. We are the 12th man at Arrowhead Drive.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the 12th Man at Arrowhead Drive. I am your host, Kevin Britton. So the draft is in the rear view. The majority of free agency is in the books. So it is now time to take a look at this roster, who has positions locked up, and what positions will be battled for this offseason during training camp and the preseason process. So let's go ahead and hop right into it here today. So we are going to start by taking a look at the roster locks for the Chiefs offense. Starting at quarterback, obviously Mahomes locked in as number one. Chad Henne would be locked in as number two. And if we choose to carry a third, we could see a battle, but I think that Shane Buechele is in the driver's seat for sure for that spot. So not a lot of controversy going on at the quarterback spot, not for the next 10 years at least. At running back, Clyde Edwards-Helaire is the starter. Ronald Jones Jr. locked in as the number two. I do think we could see quite a bit of a split between those two throughout the year, but number three spot up for grabs. Fullback, obviously we have Michael Burton, no competition there. And then the tight end position, I think these are all roster locks if we choose to carry four tight ends and everyone's healthy. Kelsey obviously locked in at the one. Blake Bell at the 2, Jody Fortson at the 3, and Noah Gray at the 4. Now, there's a chance we could only carry 3 at that point. I wouldn't necessarily call that individual a lock at the tail end of that group, but for all intents and purposes, those would be the 4 that I think are locked in. No real battle going on for their spots. Wide receiver position, we have Juju Smith-Schuster, Mecole Hardman, Marquez Valdes-Scantling, and Sky Moore all locked in. Those 4 are locked in, ready to go. The other 2 spots up for grabs. And then the offensive line could be more available spots depending on how many offensive linemen we decide to carry on the 53 when we get to that point. But Brown, Tooney, Humphrey, Smith, all locked in. Niang, if healthy, he's locked in. I wouldn't say he's locked in as the starter, but again, these are roster locks. He is locked in to be on this roster. Allegretti, locked in. Kennard, locked in. And Andrew Wiley, locked in. Could be some position battles. And again, we have to see, do we choose to go with 10? Do we take 11 offensive linemen on the active roster once the season gets here? So we'll have to see how that kind of shakes out. But I think it's pretty cut and dry on who isn't necessarily battling with somebody else to be on the team or not. It's basically you're battling for what spot you're at on the team. Are you the 1 or are you the 2? So that's where we sit on the offensive side of things. Now let's switch over and take a look at the defensive side. So our roster locks on the defensive side, Frank Clark, Joshua Kando, Chris Jones, Tershawn Wharton, Derek Nottie, Colin Saunders. Again, these are all based on if healthy. I don't think these guys are battling to make the 53-man. Jockeying for position, though, definitely up for grabs. We also have George Karlaftis, Mike Dana. Linebackers, we have Willie Gay, Nick Bolton, Leo Chanel, and then Jermaine Carter Jr. I think he's locked in to make the team. Cornerbacks, we have McDuffie, Sneed, Fenton, Johnson. Again, this is going to boil down to how many corners do we choose to roster? 5, 6, 7. I think 6 makes a lot of sense for this team, so we could be looking at 2 spots up for grabs at the cornerback position. And then safety, Thornhill, Reed, Cook, all locked in. Again, are we going to keep 3, 4, 5 safeties? It's going to kind of depend, and we will see what goes on. But not a whole lot of spots really up for grabs. So there's going to be a lot of people vying for very few open positions. So we will look at who it is that's battling for what positions and we will do that right after this.
Welcome, Royals Empire. You now have an informative, interactive show made right here in Kansas City and made just for the Royals fans. Hosted by me, Sean Barr. Let me take you down the Royal way as you indulge yourself with some great Royals coverage along with coverage around the league. Plus a variety of fun segments. Might even learn a thing or two. Even for the avid fan. Come join me. This is the Royal Way, only here on Stadium Drive Sports.
All right, guys. So let's go ahead, hop right into it. Let's take a look at the roster battles that we will be keeping our eyes on. Now, I didn't list every position that may have a battle. I'm looking at the ones that truly intrigue me and that should be something that a lot of us are wanting to keep our eyes on and see what happens, because these are people that could be potentially impacting their unit. Not looking so much at people that might be number 9 or 10 offensive linemen. I want to look at people that could really see the field based on how they play, not based on injuries per se. So we're going to start off. Let's go ahead and take a look at the wide receiver battle. There's likely going to be 2 spots up for grabs, and we have currently 5+ people battling, but I think these are the 5 most likely candidates to vie for that spot. We have Josh Gordon, Cornell Powell, Corey Coleman, Justin Ross, and Daurice Fountain. So if I had to give you my prediction on what I think will happen here, if Justin Ross is healthy enough to play, and I think he will be, I think Justin Ross makes this roster and plays for this team this year. We'll see how big of an impact he can have. And for the other spot, kind of tossed up here, guys. I like Daurice Fountain. I think he could bring something to the table. But if Josh Gordon has progressed, I think he will make more sense for this team to keep him on the roster if they think he can contribute on offense. So flip a coin, in my opinion, between Gordon and Fountain. I'm going to go ahead and go out on a limb and say I'm going to go with Gordon. Now, if Justin Ross isn't healthy enough to play, I think that at that point we're looking Gordon and Fountain making this team. Next up, in my opinion, the most intriguing position that we're going to be watching these battles, and that is the cornerback position. In all likelihood, 2 spots being battled for, and we're looking at veteran DeAndre Baker, rookie Joshua Williams, 4th round pick, rookie Jalen Watson, 7th round pick, who I had projected as a 4th. So don't sleep on him just because he was picked in the 7th. Luke Barku and DiCaprio Bootle, who has been developing on this team. Again, I think 2 of these guys make the roster. I think Joshua Williams definitely is one that is going to make the roster, which leaves 1 spot left. And I think this is going to really boil down to how we want to utilize this roster position. And I think Dave Toub is really going to pound the table for somebody that can really contribute and help out on special teams, which I think that is going to bump DeAndre Baker off of this roster and give it to Jalen Watson, which will be crazy because that means that we would be looking at 4 of our 6 corners being new to this team and 3 of those 4 being rookies. So it'd be an extremely young team if we go that route. But you guys know I have been preaching that we need some youth movement going on. Got to get ready for this phase 2 of Patrick Mahomes era. So I'm going to go with the same thing that I say for the Royals, and that is get those young guys in there and let them play. So I'm going to go William and Watson. And then the last spot I wanted to talk about is the running back battle. I think that we will be keeping 3. Which means there is only 1 spot available if that is the case, and that would be a battle between Derek Gore and Isaiah Pacheco. I think Gore has shown that he is capable of being a running back in this league. Isaiah Pacheco, however, is somebody that can also give you special teams contribution, and he is a much better pass blocker and pass catcher than Gore. So this is where I think what we will do is go with Pacheco, because I think he can really contribute to this team on special teams and on 3rd downs. But if we have an injury to one of our top 2, I think Derek Gore slots right in as the number 2. I think he does overtake Pacheco on the depth chart if they are both on the roster. And if we choose to go ahead and roster 4, we could see both of them on there. I think Pacheco gets more playing time overall thanks to the special teams and third downs, but I think that Gore would be over him on the depth chart. Because I think if you're just talking about running the ball, I think that we would be getting Gore more involved than we would Pacheco, especially early on. So those are the roster battles. Do me a favor, guys. If you're new to the channel or you haven't already, feel free to subscribe. We definitely would appreciate it a lot. Help get this out to other Chiefs fans and continue to build the 12th man fam. And also, if you guys like our videos, like our content. It lets us know that you guys do enjoy what we're doing. But take a look at these roster battles real quick and let me know who are the 2 receivers, 2 corners, 1 running back that you think should be making this team out of this list. And if you only want to list receivers or corners or running backs, feel free. But I want to know what you guys think and who you guys think will be making the team in the upcoming season. But I appreciate you guys tuning in. Again, my name's Kevin Britton. Until next time.